minutes. I did talk with her today, this morning, and gave her the information.
I can hear you, but I can hear you talking, but I don't know if I'm in.
Oh, yes, you are.
And you are. Okay, great. All right.
Everybody's here.
So
it's
let's
just on the phone,
meeting.
though.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's call the meeting to order. I have a few housekeeping items to take care of. So Wade, this should take just a few minutes before we get to you. I have you first on the agenda.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. So the first item, I need a motion, please, to add a new item to the agenda under new business. Will someone please make a motion?
What is the item?
So moved.
The item is to elect the chairman and vice chairman.
Seconded.
Okay, I think
Okay.
Ann moved and Michael seconded.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Okay, so we have Ann and Michael second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move to the clerk's reports. We have 3 months of minutes to approve. And I did went back and looked at the minutes. The first approval is for the September 17, 2020 meeting minutes. Emily, you were absent, so I need, will Joan, Ann, or Michael please make a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
I move that we. I make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
Okay.
Seconded.
I second.
Okay. Joan, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. Next, the approval of the October 15, 2020 minutes. Michael and Ann were absent, so Joan and Emily.
I'll make the motion to accept them.
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then last, the November 19 meeting minutes. Ann and Joan were absent. Emily and Michael were present. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay. Budget. Current balance, balance as of January 11, $12,292 with one invoice was presented for payment. That was to Wilcox Tree Removal, Tree Service. I authorized payment of the $1,200 on December 7th. We have a total balance in our carryover of $2,805. So that's the carryover funds balance. I do need to meet with Bartlett Tree Service about trimming all of the trees in the rear of Town Hall around the parking lot. So I will do that in the next few weeks. Are there any questions about the minutes or the budget report?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay. We will now move to old business. And the first item is the Ferry Road sidewalk replacement. Wade Thomas, the engineer, has joined us along with Tim Griswold. Thank you for your documents, Wade.
Yes, I apologize for them taking so long. She took her quite a while to get it put together. She's Incredibly busy.
Yes, yes. So we received the documents along with the comments the other day. I sent it to all of the members. I spoke with Tom Dagnan, and I've read through your comments or through the suggestions with the when you met from the meeting that you had with the landscape architect. And I want to read something to you that I was disappointed that we did not receive some information that we requested. And I want to read to you a paragraph in our October 15 minutes. If you remember, if we talked about that, of course, north side of Ferry Road, and I mentioned that I met with one of the homeowners when I was over there weeding around our young tree there, and he was asked if we had explored using any alternative materials to the sidewalk, because he was very reluctant about having the trees in front of his house removed. So what we said in the minutes was trying to capture what happened and what we agreed to. It states that Mrs. DiCamillo stated that every possible option that would not cause extensive damage to the trees should be explored before the decision is finalized, including alternative materials and the redesign of the sidewalk. Mr. Thomas will consult a landscape architect for advice. The project is scheduled to be completed by the end of summer 2021 and will be partially paid for by a steep grant. Mr. Dagnan and Mr. Thomas will stay in touch via email and agree to copy Mrs. DiCamillo on all communications. An update will be provided at the next meeting. So I went through all of the recommendations from the architect, and the only time that the sidewalk was mentioned was in the number 3 photo, and what was recommended was the sidewalk maybe could be raised, and that's in number 3. So I didn't see anything else regarding alternatives to the sidewalk and what other recourse we would have, other than the only thing I saw was an evaluation of the trees, which Tom spoke about at the meeting. So I was wondering if perhaps you didn't put that in, and that information into the document, and if you did talk with the landscape architect, and if he or she made any recommendations.
Well, I didn't because I wasn't really sure where we were going with the trees. I wanted to kind of get a little input from the commission here, that either A, we're going to remove all the trees and put new street trees in. I mean, I wanted to wait until we got the decision on the trees before I went through alternatives. Tim has also mentioned maybe we could, bump out and do a little semicircle away from the tree and get easements from the property owners. I mean, we're still at the point where we will evaluate it, but I didn't want to spend a lot of time evaluating something if the commission decided, well, based on the recommendations, the trees may have to be removed or the bulk of them may have to be removed. So until we got to that point, I guess I didn't really want to. I can obviously contact her and she would be glad to give recommendations, but I just wanted to kind of get a sense of where the commission was on the status of the trees themselves, if that makes sense.
Okay, well, I think that certainly exploring any other materials that we could use that wouldn't impact the trees would be advisable. I talked with Tom this morning, or yesterday. I talked with Tom, and he thought he was waiting actually for the same information. So and basically what was in the report, he talked about that at the October 15th meeting, and the condition of the trees and his feeling, and it was included in the minutes that he felt the trees should be removed, and the same as the landscape architect. But that being said, I asked if we could explore, just to be sure, that there's any other options out there other than digging and using the concrete that would cause so much damage to the trees. So we also talked about the fact that he would probably have to have a public hearing. And if we do, or he does have a public hearing, we would need to have at least some information, just in the event that someone in the audience would say, well, gee, have you explored this, or have you explored that avenue? So that's why we asked for you to get some advice from the landscape architect about that.
Okay, I can certainly follow up with that. I guess I was just trying to get a sense of where we're going with the trees before I had individual recommendations for, individual trees. So I can certainly do that.
Since we didn't get the documents until when was it, yesterday, or it would be, I think it would be very difficult for us to make a decision about where we're going with the trees without knowing that there are absolutely no other options.
Right,
there's just no type of material that we could put down in place before we dig. So
there are aluminum oxide stones available, and they are available in square patterns. Depends on the architect whether or not they fit in with the scheme.
Is this Michael?
Michael, yes.
Oh, okay.
There
Michael,
are square 100-centimeter square stone available that fit over a chopped gravel base. But again, whether that fits in with the overall scheme and how you'd arrange them is a matter for the landscape architect.
And well, we don't really, have a landscape architect per se. I mean, we can also look at, utilization of brick pavers or porous brick pavers that would allow oxygen transfer and that sort of thing through. And then we can transition from pavers to concrete sidewalk, or, there's a lot of options. But I can get more specific recommendations. I just, I was understanding, get an assessment of the trees, and I spoke with Tim on Monday. We also looked at perhaps looking at maybe going where the sidewalk ends now, maybe going over to the south side of Ferry and look at it out and see if that's even a possible scenario, is to route the sidewalk on the south side to avoid all the trees, or the bulk of them,
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing that's over there really is a hedge, I believe, that's pretty close to the road. Tim, do you have anything to add to that?
I drove by I went on Ferry Road today. It doesn't look too narrow, south of, or I guess west of where the new sidewalk at the church ends. So we could specifically look at whether putting a sidewalk on the other side of the street, say till Lieutenant River Lane, might make some sense. As we're talking about it, Wade, are we okay with a 4-foot sidewalk? People have been saying, look, the town standard's 5 and the DOT is 5 feet. Are we okay for the 4-foot with respect to the grant, and with respect to, I guess the state of Connecticut oversees the grant. Do they have any particular standards?
Well, I don't think they would have a problem with 4 feet. That would be the bare minimum. I think the historic commission was talking about, pardon me?
What is the existing sidewalk? What size
3
is
foot,
that?
3 foot wide.
3 feet.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh boy. Okay.
So when you get into the 4-foot would be like the minimum width that would comply with the code and everything for ADA and that sort of thing. And we might have to have little turnoffs a little wider in areas for someone that's on wheelchairs. In the event wheelchairs ever met, not that that's ever likely ever to happen, but you still have to conform with the code in that. But
okay.
Wade, can you tell us?
Would probably go ahead, Tim.
Wade, can you tell us, is this sidewalk a right-of-way or is it on town property?
Well, if we don't go around trees and that, it's basically all on town property within the right of way.
Yeah.
Or within the right of way, yes.
I'm just wondering if we know exactly where the town line is on the north side, which if it were, say, 2 or 3 feet inboard away from the road, it might provide a little more leeway for avoiding tree roots and stuff. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think, on the eastern portion, I think, that we can get easements from the property owners. But I guess the question is, once we cross Lieutenant River Lane, when we get into the hedge, we don't really, unless the homeowner would be willing to remove the hedge and allow the town to bump it onto their property. I don't know, if, again, we're open to whatever options that homeowners or whatever come up with. I mean, we're flexible. We'll, I want to work with the town. I want to make sure everyone's happy, the homeowners, the town, and we obviously have to comply with the code as well.
Well, I know when we did the sidewalk on Ferry Road up near the Brainerd property, the first property off of Lime Street, we told them to trim their hedge because we didn't want to trim it for them and then have them say we did a bad job. So if somebody's hedge is extending on over or onto private town property, we're finding this in Sound View. We can tell a landowner that they are over the line and they must do something about it. Not be ugly about it, but at least get them to do what we have to have done.
But I'm saying about that hedge in particular, if you wanted to get away from a tree to even shift it, I mean, the hedge is basically right on the south property line on that property.
Yeah.
So the hedge would have to be removed really to get any sort of meaningful separation from the tree. And I think,
that hedge
based
is
on
in good shape. That'd be a war.
Yeah, exactly. And, I guess the question is, we're talking about maybe a site walk in a couple of weeks with Tom.
Yes.
And maybe, I don't really want to go through making all these recommendations on that. If in the end we decide, we're going to take 5 of the trees or the majority of them out, But I can certainly, between now and then, I can find out alternatives. I mean, you could go with concrete brick pavers. You could go with lattice pavers that have a little latitude. Plus, if it moves.
So we may take some trees down and then use another material other than the concrete walk in other areas. So it may not be all of the trees that are on the list. That's the thing. I'm concerned, my concern is the young tree. What the landscape architect proposed was to dig it out possibly and store it. Well, that will not be something that we can do for sure. But I wanted to know about the 4 feet because obviously that's going to impact that tree anyway because it's very close to the sidewalk. So that's one item of concern. The other thing is I understand what the landscape architect described as far as these alcova trees at, as you approach 156. They are, and their limbs, I did go by there again, and I noticed how the limbs are, branches are growing into the trees that are on private property. So that's another issue that is going to will probably concern the homeowner, that particular homeowner where the alcova trees are located. And then one of them is bending very far into the road. So we'll have to treat this on an individual basis as far as I'm concerned with the trees and the materials.
I agree.
Wade, if you use these pavers and stuff, and these roots you can see them, they are really pitched up in the air. Do you think the pavers would be suitable ADA after trying to put them over these abrupt roots that are coming up?
Well, I think you'd have to feather it in on either side and then, put like topsoil, to get, you're going to be actually adding material and be above grade, and you're going to have to feather the topsoil and fill in. I think it would still be ADA compliant, and I think it would be stable. It would also have the advantage if the roots grow over time and heave, you can come back and modify it without having to tear out the sidewalk if it was a concrete sidewalk. It gives you more flexibility. And then there's also pavers that have large openings in them, or larger openings, that they've used up at Yukon. They're almost like lattice type. You could also investigate that. That way oxygen and water could get through it and that sort of thing. I mean, and I'll also ask a landscape architect for specific recommendations.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds promising anyway.
I mean, I'm willing to, we can look at a multitude, but I thought first, the assessment would be, all right, it would appear that we'll remove this tree, this tree, this tree, this tree, this one's going to stay. Then we could look at the specific recommendations. I guess that's the way I was looking at handling it. And I apologize if I did things out of order.
Okay. So what we'll do, I think what we'll do is Tom did send some dates to me that he can, and I'll give them to you now, that he can join us for a walk. Let's see, when is it? February 1, 2, 3. At the end of the day, later is better. So, do you want to plan on that, Tim?
The first will be a problem for me, but I think the other two are all right.
I'm available all 3 days.
Okay, so how about if we do, I think February 1 is a Monday, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, so how about if we do February 2nd? And do you think, I'm asking you for your opinion, do you think we should keep the 3rd as a rain date or a snow date?
I think it'd be advisable.
Okay, so we'll plan on February 2nd and the 3rd as a rain date or snow date. And I guess the best time of day is now. I'll say 4 o'clock, but maybe it will be 4:30 after I speak with Tom. And we can hopefully do this before dark.
Yep.
Now, Tim, I have a question for you. If we invite the tree commission members to go along, do we need to do minutes?
Technically, if you have a quorum, you should, but it could be very brief. You could just say, somebody led the commission down the street to observe trees. No votes were taken, something simple.
Okay. All right. Then that's your invitation, commission members. So if you're able to join us, great.
Are you going to put it online too?
Yes, I'll send it to you. February 2nd, after I check with Tom to be sure. I'll send it.
All right.
I'll send out
Sounds
an
good.
email.
It should be 5 o'clock that day.
Pardon me?
Sunset should be 5 o'clock that day.
Oh,
That sounds about
okay.
right.
So,
Yep.
So we'll plan on 4, and if Tom is late, he can join us wherever we are.
Now, do we want to meet on at the congregation end, congregational church end?
Yeah, that's probably best.
Maybe use their parking lot.
And we
Yes,
could,
that's good.
do you want to include a Dante at a Dante Public Works?
Yeah, I would think
Yes,
you
I
might
do.
want to.
Yes, he told me. I spoke with him. He told me he would like to go along. He would like to, when we walk, he would like to be meet with us. So yes. So
Yeah.
all
I'll
right. So then we have February 2nd at 4 o'clock.
Okay, I'll have Ed scope out the south side of the street just to get a little preparedness. He can comment on if a 4-foot walk would go in there okay,
Okay.
just for
All right.
comparison.
That sounds good. And I'll ask the members to review your documents that I sent to you, or bring them along with you if you can copy them, and we'll go from there. And then, if you have time to talk about materials, just, if we get to that point, and
Yes,
maybe
I can talk to her.
give us some recommendations that day, that would be great.
Okay,
So
I
we
will
can
plan on
kind
doing
of
that.
Try to get this all together hopefully for a vote
Okay,
and approval.
sounds good.
Okay? All right. Sounds
Before
good.
before you go, could you definitely confirm whether a 4-foot with the state of Connecticut, where the grant is okay? I just
Yes.
would need to learn later on that somebody said, "Oh my God, it's a 5-foot state standard. You got to go 5." I'm
Okay,
hoping,
I'll confirm that too.
and I'll check in town who has to. If there's a town standard, I'll see who can waive it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right then. Yes.
All right. Well,
I
thank
think
you all for your time.
Thank you, Wade.
Take care. Stay healthy, everyone.
You too. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you. All right, Tim, I think we have it covered.
All righty. Well, nice talking with you all.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Toodaloo.
Take care,
Bye.
Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Bye-bye.
Okay, members. So now we will move on. The next item on the agenda is the Sill Lane and Lime Street, North Green landscape design proposal. That was Edie Twining. And is she on, Martha?
I don't see her. There are some call-in users. I don't think. Well, no, I don't believe Edie is with us.
Okay. Is there anyone else who joined us? Can you see anyone else or hear anyone else?
There is Sue, a lady named Sue.
Pardon me?
There is someone named Sue.
Yeah,
Sue, okay.
Yep.
I'm halfway on and halfway off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just with Say Dan's and they have.
Pardon me? Will you repeat that, please? Okay. Will you please give your name to our secretary? Hello?
So it's Sue. Yeah,
Martha.
she's on her cell phone, it looks like.
Okay. Who is this?
Oh, there she is. So Sue, can you tell us your full name? Oh yeah, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Somehow she's gotten muted or something.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I can
Okay.
see her.
So,
She's
Can you
speaking.
hear me now?
Oh yes, that's better.
Yeah, all right. You know me. I'm Sue Joffrey, Suzanne Joffrey.
Oh yeah.
Joffray. I know Martha.
I know you, Sue. Everybody looks
Hi,
different
Suzanne.
on video.
I only came on because the church suggested that we listen, and I was trying to decide exactly what we were involved
right.
in.
Yeah. Okay.
okay. So, okay. Well, thank you for joining us. Okay, members, we'll just move on now to the rest of the agenda, the remainder of the agenda. As I said, this is Sill Lane and North Green landscape design proposal was on the agenda. Edie Twining has not joined us. So we will, does anyone have any comments about this or about the proposal? The members who were not at the meeting in November, which was Ann and Joan, you were not there. So do you have any comments about this?
About the trees?
No, about the landscape design proposal for the Still Lane and Lime Street North Green.
Oh, it's totally ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's wonderful. It's really beautiful, but the cost of putting it in, the care, the damage that will come to many of those plants from snow and other stuff. Also, there's no place to park for people who want to walk around and see the beautiful plants. So, I mean, it's sort of frivolous, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
And we can't take care of it.
No.
That was my concern. How are you going to take care of it?
We can't take care of it.
Well, the proposal... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The proposal, what she was trying to do is get a committee together to maintain it and water it. But she was concerned about getting water to the site. So that was a big concern of hers. So we did tell her that, I guess we talked about the hydrangeas that are planted around the perimeter, and the fact that they probably could be damaged because they're so close to the road by snow plows, and especially the state side, which is Route 1, and then also salt. That's another concern. So we did give her some ideas. We did comment on that. So maybe we'll just see what happens with that. I did talk with the garden club president about it, and she said that they would, they could not help with the maintenance because they just don't have enough members. They do so many sites in town already, but they still want to be in charge of the planter that's there. So I guess we'll wait until next month and see if perhaps she will join us then, and maybe she'll have some more ideas or maybe alternatives, or have scaled back the plan. We'll wait and see. So if you have any questions now, or more comments, let me know before we move on to the next item.
I have a comment.
One thought.
Go ahead, Ann.
One thought I had was the view of the traffic. If you're coming out of Sill Lane,
yes,
the hydrangeas might block the site, so you can't see what's coming up Route 1.
That's true.
Sightline. That's a good point. Yes, that's a good point, Ann. Okay.
Joanne,
yes.
I would think, the planting they did up in Essex of all those daffodils.
Yes.
By the side of the road.
Yes.
Across from the firehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that could be very nice, because it's just a matter of putting them in. And then you put in a few flowering, pretty trees, and you're all right. And they can do their planter. Yeah,
if you refer to your documents, you will see where this was just an idea that she had, because I did comment on all of the daffodils covering the lawn. And I said that would be a pretty tough thing to do, because the town crew would want to mow there, number one. So we did. And number two, there would be all dead foliage showing all through until June or July. So I did suggest that perhaps a bed could be created and put the daffodils along with some flowering plants in a bed. Now, what I do think now, I looked at the site, I walked and I looked at her documents, and I think actually, and I did talk with Tom, and what I would suggest, and just, I mean, this is just a suggestion to her, is maybe to create a bed there of perennials, maybe mixed with shrubs, maybe not, but a perennial bed. We would not, if they think that they want to have something that would beautify the green, that way we would not be in charge of it. It would not be under our purview, because perennials are not, we don't have any authority over planting perennials. So I thought about that along with behind. Now I'm looking at the green from, let's say, right at the stop sign or in front of the planter. I was thinking I'm going to call it behind the bench, where there are some trees now and where we will be planting the tupelo, to perhaps work in some flowering trees in there as well, behind the planter. And then between the planter, behind the bench, and then between the bench and the planter, to possibly create like a bed of flowering plants, maybe closer to the planter than to the bench. And then, so if she wanted color, and then if that works, maybe in 3-4 years, whatever, they could think about adding maybe some shrubs. But at this point, it's a big project, and I just think taking it in steps would be the best way to go. And the first steps would be to plant a small perennial mixed annual bed. Maybe the garden club could handle that, maybe they can't. But that, to me, would be more manageable. So let me hear your comments about that, if you would.
Comment, we should plant our flowering trees in the Tupelo and get out of there.
Okay.
That sounds like a good way to go. Jean is ever practical.
Okay. Yes, I agree. So, Michael, how about you?
Yes, ma'am. I agree with your assessment completely.
Okay, so all of us are in agreement that perhaps it should just be something that they can manage themselves, that they wouldn't need we wouldn't need to become involved. We would do maybe a couple of flowering trees, as I said, back behind the bench. I'm not really looking at the plan with the witch hazels. I'm looking at it from the back. That would be from Peck Tavern, let's say, and looking at it. I'm not sure that I like the trees growing up over the bench, because to me, that would mean that there would be leaves collecting there inside where the bench is, on the ground, on the floor, on the ground where the bench is. There would be leaves collecting there, and it would be, I don't know who would clean it out. So that's why I'm saying that. Perhaps we could put shrubs around the bench. There were hollies there at one time, but the town crew removed them. So perhaps that could happen, but that would mean water and starting them. So I think that would be nice to have shrubs there, a few shrubs around them again, but they would have to be, the town crew would have to maintain them, or we would. And getting them started, that's the whole thing, is the water. So we'll talk about that hopefully again next month, and maybe meet Edie if she can. She'll join us. If she can, or if she wants to proceed, maybe Martha, you could get in touch with her and just tell her that we had a discussion. Would you do that?
Yep, I'll do that.
Okay. Email her and just tell her that we discussed. We had full members, complimented members, and we had a discussion about it. Okay.
Yep.
And it was a gorgeous plan, an absolutely gorgeous plan.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. It really is. But
inappropriate.
Okay. Okay, so then we'll move on to the 2021-22 budget that I talked about. I did keep it the same as last year, the total amount. So, but we talked, I believe, at the last meeting, I don't have my notes in front of me, about moving money from one line item to another. So that I did send that in for approval, and I haven't heard anything. Okay, I believe they do the budget now. They'll start reviewing all the budget requests. Communications. Tom posted 3 trees for removal on 13 Academy Lane, 13 Beckwith Lane, 25 Still Lane. And the reason that I'm including that, I don't normally include trees posted for removal because that's really not our purview. I usually identify trees in the agenda that need trimming, but those 3 trees that were posted, there's one of them at 13 Academy Lane. This is the second tree the house is at the corner of Academy Lane and Lieutenant River Lane. 2 large maple trees have been taken down from there. And the homeowner, she was very upset about having this tree, the second one, removed. And they were beautiful old maples, but they just, like everything else, like all the other maples, they were just becoming a hazard. So Tom posted it for removal, and he suggested, and you'll see in the next item, he suggested to her that she contact us to have a new tree planted in where at least one new tree planted. So I just wanted you to know that she may be reaching out to us to have a new tree to plant new tree for her. Those trees were the same as the other trees on Ferry Road. They were right next to the road, so I guess we'd have to move them in a little. And of course, the root systems are still there, so we'd have to try to circumvent them. Okay, so we'll see what happens with that. Town Hall, under Town Hall, on November 18, a resident reported a concern about a tree at Miller's Way and Tom Waite Road. That was an email I got from Town Hall, and he had tried several times to contact, he said he contacted the commission, but I did not receive anything, and there was nothing on the town website. But anyway, Tom did look at that, and I guess there was a question about the tree that the resident reported. Was it on town right-of-way? So he suggested he emailed the homeowner directly and said that he was going to ask Ed Adonti to consult the maps and see if it was indeed on town right-of-way. And so the next item, I skipped the first item, which was a new item for today, a motion to add a new item to elect the chairman and vice chairman for this year. We have to do that. That's a bit of housekeeping in January. In past years, I had forgotten, but and of course I remembered after I sent the agenda. So that being said, is there anyone who would like to step into the role of chairman?
Anybody think they could do it better?
Thanks. Oh, that's a giggle. Okay. Oh, okay. So, I don't hear any volunteers. So with that, I need a motion to suggest.
Move that Joanne be recommissioned as chairman of the tree commission.
Second.
So moved, Michael Gaffey.
Second.
Is there a second?
I second it. Joan Flynn.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your confidence. I shall do it another year. If, Michael, I'm nominating you for vice chairman.
I really appreciate that. Thank you, Joan.
Good.
Okay.
Yep, I'm up for it.
So I need a motion to for Michael to serve as vice chairman.
I move that Michael be vice chairman. This is
Second.
Ann.
Thanks, Ann.
And second,
I second it, Joan.
Emily, are you on? Oh, is Emily is not on? Is she on there, Martha?
I'm sorry. I was muted.
Oh,
Sorry.
Oh, okay. That's all right. I just wanted to be sure we still had a full complement of members. So,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
then all in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Michael, very much. I appreciate it. I really do. I
Thank you.
appreciate your help this year with the tree at EF Watermelon. So, okay, that's good. All right. I have another item. The last one, which is a new group in town. And I'm not going to go into detail today, but I would like to read you. I don't know whether read about it to you. I don't know if you've heard of the Old Lyme Pollinator Pathways project.
Oh, okay.
It is a project that was started in 2017 in Wilton and Ridgefield. It's a community land stewardship project, which brings together volunteers from town conservation organizations. So by 2020, over 100 towns in Connecticut and New York, that was their goal. They wanted to start also in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Massachusetts, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Washington. So what is Pollinator Pathways? The goal is to increase the numbers and locations of native plantings that support pollinators throughout the community. So it could be container gardens, flower beds, yards, lawns, educational displays, teaching gardens, preserves, restoration sites, meadows, open space. I attended a Zoom meeting, the first Zoom meeting. Now, Old Lyme was awarded the bronze certification. It's headed up by two gals, Suzanne Thompson and, I can't remember her first name. Her last name is Poirier, I think. And they started this a pollinator project pathway in Old Lyme. They had a Zoom meeting to bring us up to date and invited me. They reached out to me as the chairman of the tree commission and asked me if I would participate. So they had a Zoom meeting, and the title of the project is Pollinate Old Lyme, a community-wide initiative to provide more native pollinator-friendly habitats and food sources for bees, butterflies, and other insects, birds, and wildlife. So they're a participant in Pollinator Pathway Northeast. It's Cheryl Poirier. They're the co-leaders. They are planning a launch in January this month, and I believe I'll send you the information. On January, here it is, Tuesday, January 26th, but you can only do it online. It's, I believe it's by Zoom. So that's going to be a community launch, but they were recognized back in 2020 for sustainability. Sustainability Connecticut certifies municipalities for their meaningful role in community sustainable actions. Sustainable defined as resilience beyond ecological sustainability, economic, cultural, natural resources, health and wellness, inclusive voices. They received a bronze certification, and now they're trying to go for a silver. As I said, I joined their Zoom meeting in December, and it was it's a very exciting project. I listened to there's a lot of organizations involved already, and I'll just name a few. Conservation, Open Space, Sustainable Old Lyme Team, Kindness Committee, Board of Selectmen, Roger Tory Peterson, Estuary Center, Florence Griswold, Duck River Garden Club, Old Lyme Land Trust, the Library, the Historical Society, the Art Association, Regional 18 Board of Education Sustainability Team, Lyme Old Lyme High School Environmental Club, Lyme Old Lyme Junior Women's Club, the Giving Garden at Town Woods Park. There's a plan to do a Giving Garden at Town Woods Park, and St. Anne's Environmental Club. So I listened to all of their proposals. They want to do a calendar. They're going to have a calendar of educational activities and tours. They want to establish anchor gardens. So they do have the Tree Commission as participating in this. I told them that I would talk with you about it. And at the end of our Zoom meeting in December, I asked them, I said, I'm assuming that you are looking to us to act as consultants as opposed to, planting gardens or being involved in that way. Of course, we always try to plant native trees. So that would be, that's a given with our group. So I said, I asked them if they thought that would be our role. And they said yes, that when people would like to plant trees, can they come to us for advice on what to plant? And I thought that would be a good thing for us to do. So I'm asking you what you think. If you would like one by one to comment, please. Anyone commenting?
First off, I'm going to join the organization to see what their methodology is.
What do you mean by methodology?
I see that they want to know the use of pesticides, lawn chemicals, and things like that, and how do they guarantee that those things are not used in proximity to what they call their pathway map? And when you register your own property to be actively involved and agree not to use pesticides, how does that get expanded on a map into their mission? Are they looking to have the whole map covered with people in their organization? I don't know what their pathway is what I should say. Their methodology.
So here's what I would tell you. Here's what I say. This was just a very brief meeting a brief description of everything. Can you join the meeting on Tuesday, January 26th? Can you do Zoom, Michael?
Tuesday, yes, I can on Tuesday, January 26th.
What time?
Well, there are two 2 times here. Oh my gosh, let's see if I have that pulled up. 2 times, 12 p.m. and 6 p.m., which is exactly what they did the last time when I joined. Basically, when I joined,
grandchildren is good for me.
Okay, so 12 p.m., 6 p.m., January 26th. Let's see, a login information for one of the 2 Zoom presentations will be sent to those who email. You need to email this and send an email to them and provide your name and location. Here it is. Here's your email.
Okay.
Pollinate Old Lyme, POLLINATE Old Lyme @gmail.com, and provide your names and your location.
Okay.
And then if you would please, anyone who attends, would you please be ready to give us a report at the next meeting in February, because we will meet in February. We are meeting. We have to meet to discuss Ferry Road again and see if Edie wants to participate, Edie Twining, with her project. So we will be meeting. So if you can please just take some notes so you can give a report to us about the meeting. So right now, we are just we will be consultants at this point. I mean, I don't see any other role for us to become involved. Really, it's as far as planting and getting involved really heavily with this. So, how do you feel about it as far as we are right now? I mean, I think it's okay as long as we have our questions answered. I think they'll probably depend on the other, or maybe get in touch with the people who started this. This is, a big movement. So, and I also thought that perhaps the garden that I was talking about, the perennial garden, butterfly garden, whatever, on the town green could be part of that, could be part of this pollinator pathways for Old Lyme on public property. So,
sounds reasonable.
What do you think? Do you think so? So that would involve maybe the garden club, maybe, being involved with that. So I don't know if they can though, but that's just an idea that I had. And the president of the Duck River Garden Club was at the Zoom meeting that I attended. So, okay. So I guess that is all I have for today. As I said, we'll definitely meet on February 18. That's our next meeting. And I must tell you before we adjourn that I had a phone call today from a a prospective member. So who was interested in joining the tree commission. So I was very, very happy about that. I don't know, it's a gentleman, and he said that he would consider it after I talked with him at great length this morning, and he said he would consider it. So we'll see what happens, but that would be wonderful for our group.
Great.
Okay. Is there anything else? I just gave him the background of what we do. I said we're pretty quiet actually, but we're very busy at the same time, with projects and things. And I mentioned, our various activities and, that, we have master gardeners. We have someone who is a hiker and is interested in the outdoors. I mentioned horticulture, and I mentioned, Michael, your interest in the chestnut trees and
I'm big into that.
Spotted lanternfly. So I just gave him a quick, or not quick, but it was a rather lengthy discussion about all of our activities. So we'll see what happens, but that's a good way to start the new year. So with that, I'll say Happy New Year to all of you. Future looks pretty bright. Hopefully we'll all be vaccinated, and I look forward to the next time we can meet in person. It's very difficult, I find, to have a meeting like this. So I like to look at you and you know, be able to interact personally, but we'll just carry on until that time comes. So with that, if there are no other items, I will adjourn the meeting. And thank you, Martha.
Yeah, no problem.
I need a motion, please, to adjourn. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
I second.
Okay.
Good. Okay, thank you all. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.